Let's get into it. Let's get into it. It is, first of all, it's cold as hell out here today, but I'm bundled up. I got my gloves and a nice warm coat. Nice and warm coat. And this warm hat that covers every part. So I'm safe to talk right now. But anywho, what's up, my Niji? I see yo, family. What are we talking about today? Well, today I just wanted to let you guys know that I've been doing a lot of research and I discovered a lot of documents, so many documents that it's going to take a lot of us, more than one tribe, more than a couple of people to wake up and read this stuff because it's overwhelming. So I've been following my normal YouTubers and I always tag them in the bottom of my video. And I noticed that a lot of the sources that they get are from the Library of Congress. LOC. LOC got all the secrets. So my little nosy tail self, decided to go to the Library of Congress website and just do a little snooping. I can't really remember what I was snooping for, but baby, oh, I know what I was searching for. So for me, I do not like the fact that Andrew Jackson is on the $20 bill. I don't like that. I don't like that none of them own the money. It ain't even our money. We already talked about money, but him, all of them are the same. But for him, I just honed in on him once I realized that he came to Tallahassee, aka Tallahassee, Florida, and started wars. He started war everywhere he went, pretty much. You know, he was from overseas. You know, his dad was from overseas and he was born here, but they're immigrants. But he started war where my hometown. And ever since then, I kind of had like a thing against him for real, for real. But baby, I was doing a little research and I was like, how is it that this man who was in the military, like all about war, all about like taking things that weren't his, all about like all about taking things that weren't his, killing people, and just burning things, all of that. How is it that he's on our $20 bill? Why the fuck is he on our $20 bill? Why any of them, really? But it's not our $20 bill. Let me get that right. See, when you waking up and you in Niji land, there's like this transitional period from African American to Niji. Niji means that you have discovered which tribe you are because there were hundreds of tribes. Me, Muskogean, Choctaw, Appalachian Creek. So far, that's what I've discovered. But anywho, back to AJ. We're gonna call him AJ. So AJ, little crazy tail self, he became the governor, the first governor I discovered of Florida, and then he became the president. But while he was doing this, he owned or enslaved people. He did. Somebody who was an enslaver on the money, it don't sit well with me. All of these things don't sit well with me. We hype these people up, President's Day, all this have nothing to do with Niji. It's actually the exact opposite. So I was researching him, just trying to dig into his life a little bit because I already started on Christopher Columbus, CC, okay? And CC, I can't stand him. CC, Christopher Columbus, was a psycho. People are probably like, Christopher Columbus was a psycho. Yes. I don't understand why this government highlights the psychos. They have the psychoest people who go in, you know, torture, brutalize, vandalize, violent, heinous crimes, and they highlight them. That's how you get on the money after you done stole a couple of villages, unalive some indigenous people, you know. They're going to highlight you, give you a reward for that, for unaliving us and taking our property in our ancestral land, which is what I really want to talk to you guys today about, is this ancestral motherfucking land. I kept hearing people say, this is our land, they stole our land, all of this stuff. But when you in African American world, it don't really click for you because you out of your identity. So many people out of their identity. Then you got all these pretendians coming out. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, baby. I go to the motherfucking source. What's the source? The government itself. It's no reason why I have to listen to you on the internet and listen to her, listen to him on the internet. There's no reason for me to do that when the government gonna tell you what the fuck they did. This is not a secret, guys. I know how much of it is not a secret of what the government did. I know just how much of it is not a freaking secret, right? So let me get to the point that I'm trying to make. But I just haven't been on here in a couple of days. We lost one of our elders, my grandma's last living sibling out of 8. So we kind of lost her. So that threw me for a loop. I love my elders. So, anywho, so as I was digging, looking him up, I went to the Library of Congress, guys. For the people who act like we don't know what we talking about, and that. No, baby. Listen, the Library of Congress is where they hide a lot of these secrets. But the problem is, like they said, when they came over here, we did not speak that language. We had our own language, right? We didn't speak that language. So they was able to write whatever the fuck they wanted to down on paper, research us, write what they want, change names, change colors, call us what they want, and make it official and put it in the law. How do you do that? I thought about it. Like, that's like a lot of the treaties that they did for the land. Okay, let me go back. So this is what I found in the Library of Congress, so I can stop prolonging it. What I found in the Library of Congress was that for every Senate session that they do, even up until now, they have hundreds and hundreds of papers that they write about what was said, who was said it, when it was said. They document so well. That's one thing I can say about this government. They documented the atrocities a lot. They did go back and try to change the name and stop calling us Indian because there was too much evidence in the Congress, in the Library of Congress, that they done talked about in Senate. There's too much evidence to prove who we truly are. It's all in the Library of Congress. But once I started digging, I was like, God dang. It's pages and pages, 700-page document, 500-page document, 600-page document. I'm like, what? Because I was looking into Andrew Jackson on the Library of Congress. It took me to the Senate papers because they said he is the one. This is why I can't stand his ass. He is the one who signed a lot of those treaties to take the land. And it hit me when I was reading all these Senate documents, which I have not even finished because it's so much. Y'all got to get on there and read and study. So people who act like we don't know what we're talking about, shut the fuck up. Go read what the government said. They didn't lie. They know who we are. They know. You just don't know. You believe in the pseudo history. Just like the African Americans. They believe pseudo history. Anybody who's not African American, you've been taught pseudo history. It's not that hard to understand. So I'm digging and I found so many things that point to us. So when I say that I'm Choctaw, that's CHAH. Hold on, let me make sure I spell it right. CHAHTA. Choctaw. They changed it to Choctaw. Choctaw is not me. Choctaw is me. I found the lexicon dictionary of the Choctaw language. In this dictionary on the Library of Congress, this dictionary is 300 pages, right? 300 pages of our words, the Choctaw. I heard of the Choctaw. Not Choctaw, Choctaw. 300 pages of Choctaw language. And in this, at the beginning of it, it said there is an urgency to understand what they're saying. We have an urgency in Congress to really translate this language so we can understand what they are saying. So they made it an urgency to develop this 300-page dictionary of Choctaw language to teach to the fake Choctaw. It said for the Choctaw school. So when people say, oh, we're the real Indians, no, you went to school to be an Indian. There is a difference. You cannot teach melanin. Y'all hear me? You cannot teach melanin. You can't teach melanin. Okay? You can't teach Indian red. You can't teach copper tone. Okay? You can't teach that stuff. This is something that is indigenous. So that's one of the things that I found. I kept digging. I'm like, okay, well, that's why the chiefs now, who pretending Indians, they think they're chiefs because they actually had a chief school. They had a school for the chiefs, the pretending Indian chiefs. So everything that we had, they studied us. They wanted to translate it so they could teach it to them, so that they could be us, and they could steal the land, and they could give the pretendians a reservation, which is why they're on the reservation, because it's government funded, because they fit into the government's pseudo history, this fairy tale, this fable that they're putting together, right? So I'm digging and digging and digging, and I come upon this other document. I mean, I ran into like 20 documents that night, and I was saving them. It was so many pages. Like I said, it was 300, 400, 500, 200. You can't read this in a night. You really need a village to decipher this. And I was just under Andrew Jackson ass. Okay. So what they was talking about in this one Senate record I found, they got the date, the time, all of it. So y'all can't say, oh no. Ask Andrew Jackson and his predecessors. I guess that's the word. That's the presidents. That's the people who know politics. They know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, don't act like you don't know. But in this Senate record, I had to put it on the screen. I had to find it and put it on the screen. But I was so baffled by what they were saying. They were saying, like, guys, the Indians are complaining that the settlers, because the Indians end up, after all the war, to prevent more bloodshed, we ended up giving them, not really giving them land, but moving away from them because it was violent people, moving away, making the territory. We say, y'all stay there, we stay over here, right? So what had happened was, this day in Senate, they were discussing, well, dang, the immigrants, the settlers are continuing to move onto Indian territory, and they wouldn't stop. They kept migrating, taking more land, more land, more land. And it was like, well, the Indians have like when they did the Census Bureau, they were calculating who was on their plantation, which is what they called the Indians' land back then, because everybody had their own little plantation. It wasn't how you see it today. It wasn't like what you think of a plantation in the history books, the pseudo history. This was actual Indians with big plots of land. So they would go see who was who lives there, what crops they had, how many they had. They tallied all of that up in the Senate now. This is all on the Senate records. They tallied up every state, city, so they knew they was doing research. And in this document, they said, well, we got to figure out a way to allow settlers to claim Indian land and take the Indian land. I'm just like, you can't make this stuff up. We have to figure out a way for the settlers to claim Indian land. And they said, well, yeah, we're going to have to make some very aggressive legislature so that they can lose their land, threaten them, harass them, so that we could take the land. Now, okay, this is in the Senate records now. And then somebody in the Senate, because the Senate, they vote, yes, no, all this stuff, the same kind of shit they do now. So somebody at this Senate meeting was like, do not do this. If you do this to the Indians, it's going to make our history the most embarrassing history ever known to the world. This is what they told him. Andrew Jackson, he went ahead and ignored that advice and signed the treaties. So every piece of land that they had went and researched and documented. They knew how much, knew how many Indians. It was millions of acres. Millions of ancestral land. It was millions of acres. So they used their pretending Indians, the chiefs that went to the chief school in the early 1800s. By the time, this time had passed, they're grown. So they're the chiefs now speaking for, they was like the chiefs speak for the whole group of people. So they made their own chiefs, killed our chiefs, or cacique is what they called it. So the chief is now signing off on treaties and stuff like that. So they gave the fake chiefs the reservation, had them sign off on fake treaties to take our land, And that was it. That's how the land was stolen. They wrote this in the Senate. And they just kept doing that, kept stealing more land, making laws, everything against us, everything to break us down, burning everything. People losing their homes right now through fire. Fire. Massive villages. Okay? Losing their home through fire. And when I saw that fire in California, some reason it reminded me of what went on back in the day to my ancestors. How you could be sleeping in your house, they pull up with that fire, set the whole village on fire, stand outside of the village, and just shoot. Shoot. Anybody run out, shoot them. Kids, women, men, anybody. This was the way that they did it. Right? Shoot them. Okay? So I'm digging, and guys, I found out how they took Florida, Georgia. There's so much evidence. And when I went into the Library of Congress, it startled me because I really wasn't even looking for that. This is the thing. When people want to come on here and talk shit about, oh, you don't know this. I don't need you to tell me nothing. I could go right to the Library of Congress. I can go right to the British Museum. I can go right to the museums down in South America. The evidence is all around the world. The issue is it is blocked out here in the United States. So when we get to the present day, this is why if you ever go and read those long Senate documents, the real threat for information is TikTok. They said data is the new, what did they say? Let me get it right. Data is the new oil. Okay? Data is the new way they control us, try to control us. One more thing before I get off of here. Facebook. So I'm in the process of eliminating Facebook out of my life. Yes, I went viral on Facebook. Yes, I do have a picture that is viral. But is that worth being on here? I've been on Facebook for 20 years, and they say you monetize, but it's pennies, It's pennies on the dollar, right? So I'm just like, I don't do Facebook because they censor everything. Instagram censor everything. That's why TikTok, people love it. It doesn't get censored. On my Facebook, all I see is naked women, drama, never nothing educational, barely anything positive, nothing like TikTok where you have information flowing, and that's why they want to ban it. And my thing is all of the evidence is everywhere. So anybody who wants to negate the fact that we are Indian, we are Indian red, we are Indian, Indian red, we are the copper tone people, we are the indigenous inhabitants here. It's all on the census records. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And like I said, the Library of Congress tells all the secrets, guys. I could not believe what I was reading, how the government was planning to torture the citizens to take their land and create laws that would work against them to take their land, knowing that they didn't speak the same language, knowing that they killed the cacique, I think that's how it is, but the chief, knowing that's the first person they look for. When Christopher Columbus pulled up on the shores, where your king at? Where your cacique at? That's who they wanted to find so they can unalive him, unalive the people, and when it got further and further in life, they would unalive the chief, so to put fear in everyone else and take the land. So yeah, you have ancestral land, and I get it now. We have ancestral land that has been stolen, and it's crazy, guys. So I had to just get on here and let you guys know what documents I'm working through right now. I am, like I said, going to put that paragraph of what I found. Even that one little page from Congress is like, what the fuck? Like, what? What? But continue to be strong, my Niji. Continue to talk your shit. Continue to post those informational videos. And my thing is, some people feel like, well, I discovered this first, or I discovered, no. This is all our knowledge. And there's so much knowledge that each person has to dig into a different part of the knowledge and the history to put it together. Don't worry about the people who come and say, "Oh, you know, y'all just said." The people who don't understand what I'm talking about, you just don't read. You just don't know. You really think the government is good. That means the government is probably for you. The government is not for us. They're not like us. Okay? They're not. Pure evil exists. It really exists. It really exists, guys. It's hard to believe, but it really exists. This country was built on pure evil, torture, evilness. And I wanted to bring awareness to that because that's not cool, man. When I go in this dental office and I have a patient and I'm getting ready to do an extraction on this person and they maybe don't speak English, right? I can't have them sign a consent form agreeing to do the extraction and that they know the risk and everything involved if they don't understand the consent form. That's illegal. It's kind of like fraud. It's kind of like not right. It's not ethical, right? Ethics, the government lacks ethics. The government lacks compassion. The government is just take, take, take. How can we take? What can we do? What can we manipulate? What can we do? How can we steal? How can we put this? How can we hold them down? The biggest thing that they said since the beginning of the time is the way that they control African Americans, aka blacks, aka Indians, aka colored people, aka copper color, whatever pseudonym you want to say, really Indians. The way they control us is by breaking the spirit. Break the spirit, stick you in church, take the land. So you're not fighting for the land no more. You're fighting for a broken spirit to be healed that you don't even understand why. Because you're working 2, 3, 4 jobs, going to school all day, you're doing all this stuff, and it's not really amounting to anything. So your spirit is broken. So if your spirit is broken and you're in this African American identity, hop over to the Niji world. Go do your genealogy, figure out who your ancestors were, go do your Census Bureau research, figure out what tribe you come from, and watch how your spirit locks back into place. It's going to take a while to break the mental chains, the physical chains. It's going to take a while. There is a transition period from African American to Niji. There is a transitional period. Your language is going to change. Your mindset is going to change. Your confidence is going to change. Your pride is going to change. You're going to have a whole new everything, but it's going to take a lot of time to detox, do an information detox, do a pseudo history detox, and to fill it back up with good shit, to fill it back up with spiritual knowledge, to fill it back up with the truth. And to the people who not like us, we have to know the truth. Everybody in the world needs to know the truth. Needs to know the truth. That's how we can heal the world and let people know that this ain't right. Like, we have to know the truth. So cleanse yourself, find out the truth, be bold, be confident, know who you are. Never let anybody rock your spirit. Even when people come around and try to tell you who you are, I remind y'all, never let the enemy tell you who you are. They are out to deceive you. And if you believe them when they tell you who you are, whether they type it on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, if you believe somebody who's trying to tell you who you are, and they're not minding their own damn business and learning about who they are, and they trying to force you to know who you are, that's because if you find out who you truly are, it knocks them out of your spot. It knocks them out your spot. It knocks them off your land. It knocks them off your name. It knocks them off your culture swag. It knocks them off of all of that. Okay? But this is something that has to be done. And this is just the beginning. I feel like this is just the beginning, like the beginning of the awakening. Even though a lot of people have been woke way longer than me, 10 years, 15 years back in the day. But this is just the beginning. Okay? So sending love to all my Niji out there. This is Dr. Sean, and we're going to continue to dive deep. Like I said, I had to take a couple days off to love on my tribe, talk to my people in Florida about my aunt who expired, who is no longer with us, but still here in the spirit. So, yeah, love on your tribe, guys. I am done with this video. I will see you guys in the next video. Like I said, we finna bring a lot of heat. A lot of heat. If you want to know a place to start researching who you are, like I said, genealogy first. Get on here with some of these prominent YouTubers. Go to the Library of Congress, whatever topic you want to do, put that in different libraries. That's where you have the facts. All right. Oh, another thing is, a couple of weeks ago, I made a video talking about how our history in the books costs $8,000 versus a pretendian's history in the book will only cost like $200, right? So that book that's $8,000, they were talking about that book in the Senate. They were using that book to discuss in the Senate. It's called Adair's History of the American Indian. But I thought that was very suspect, you know. I think a lot of stuff's suspect now. So, but yeah, the sun is out on this cold day. It's trying to peek through. All right, that's a great way to end this video. I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you want, or just leave me a comment and let me know that you stopped by. I love you guys, and I will see you next time. Peace.